daddy. They're asking daddy for an allowance.
No, they're asking society in general.
No, society's opinion doesn't matter when the force comes in.
Sure, the force
Wonder
does
why
come
my
in, but
negative went up
It's the only thing we're talking about.
Agreed, but here's
double.
the thing that I'm running into the problem is you are assuming that men will act this way, that men will do this, that men will act as a collective to enforce their will necessarily. I'm saying that
I
think socialization. Look, I don't think we automatically tell I don't think we should, and I hope you're not raising your son to say if someone has a toy and you really want that toy, go over there and take it from them.
Depends what the toy is. That could be good for them, actually. You know what I mean? Like, it could be good
Dog,
for
why
you
do you
and me.
believe, dog?
Like, look, let's just hypothetically.
Generalizing,
Hold on,
because
Oliver.
you're making generalizations all the time.
Oliver, is it possible that there's an instance of necessary growth of boys battling it out?
Sure, of course, but we're talking in generalities because you're saying that I can't appeal to the fact that there are men that are weaker than women to invalidate the claim.
When you use a heating pad, does it make your muscles feel better or worse? No, I'm talking to the other person.
Your objective is to maximize elimination.
Holy about him. Dude, what is this sound, bro? What? Dude, this guy gets so lucky. Dude, the sound in this game is horrible.
Five minutes. You're ahead of the enemy.
Bro, what the fuck? I can't even see him.
Enemies are in the lead.
Dude, how long does it take for them to fucking run towards me, bro? Okay, this guy doesn't fucking die, dude. dude, this sound is the worst sound design I've ever fucking seen. This is unreal, dude. Sounds like it's 2 feet away from you for like 20 seconds. Unreal.
Hostiles are halfway to objective.
Of course I get shot from 2 different fucking places at once. Of course. Of course he gets hit in the head and he doesn't hit him in the head. Of course. Fuck else would happen. Of course I spawn in front of someone. Holy fucking garbage game.
To go.
Dude, I love when people get that lucky, bro. You're literally double negative, getting unbelievably lucky timing. How are you negative when you get timing like that? Horrible fucking sound, dude. Dude, I can't fucking hear anyone in this fucking game, dude. Holy shit.
60 seconds left.
Dude, having hatches open apparently makes it impossible to hear.
30 seconds left.
Yep, can't hear. There's like 10 people around me. I have no idea where they're coming from.
Hostiles are pushing for objective. 15 seconds left.
Fucking camera angles this guy gets is insane, dude.
10 seconds. 5 seconds left.
Can barely win a gunfight, dude. Like, holy shit. Wow, that was a literal AIDS.
That like this force doctrine.
Wasn't your question, well, just because a collective of men could take over, it doesn't matter, it doesn't mean that men will take over.
Holy
You ever
fuck,
debated
man.
anarchists?
I have not. I mean, I've heard their.
Okay,
position,
I just
yeah.
wanna put this on you. Pretend you and I are debating against a third person who's an anarchist for a second. We're on the same team for a second, and I ask them, why do you think anarchy is possible? And they say, well, because most people are passive and don't want to, use their force and their will to control people.
Yeah.
And then they ask me, why do you think anarchy doesn't work? I answer the same exact thing. Because most people don't use force, but the small group that does want to use their force, they will.
Why can't there be another group that uses their force contrary to that in support?
Are they made up of men?
Sure.
Okay,
Some of them can be, and some of them can be
patriarchy
women.
for the win.
No, but that's not how we should define what a society is, just by who makes
Okay,
up the majority.
define a
of the
society.
enforcement. Whatever ordered thing you.
Is that fine with you? You can come up with one that you like
I
better.
don't find it can be ordered. I agree that there has to be some sort of order to society. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Now, would you agree that order supposes force?
I guess the threat of force, sure.
But the
agree.
threat has to be able to be actualized, right? Ultimately. Like, if you
Yeah.
call their bluff over and over.
Sure, yeah, fine. It has to
Okay.
be actualized.
This is what I'm saying, and I don't know how many more times I can drive this home, is that your vision of feminism being rights, equal opportunities, you're basically saying society is in a place where females should be more liberated to be in all sorts of different areas. Okay, that's what you're really arguing. You're arguing that society is essentially, which I kind of agree, is an amusement park that's already been built and maintained largely by men, right? You're just adding a police element. And what you're saying is feminism is Disney World. They should be able to ride on every ride. And then I go,
No, everyone,
well,
everyone should have access to the rides.
I know, but who enforces that everyone has access to the rides? Men.
Hold on. It's society in general, and you are right that it is primarily going to be
So
men
would
who
you
are enforcing
concede?
that.
Would you concede that your vision of feminism actualized requires something antithetical to feminism?
No, it is not antithetical because just
Your objective is to maximize eliminations. You first blood.
Okay, that guy just literally.
Reloading.
Unbelievable.
Enemies took the
Fucking
lead.
insane.
saying that men should do the right thing and men should be in favor of these things is not against feminism. I don't see how that's against
No, I didn't say
feminism.
should. I said, well, that's your other problem is, do they have an obligation? But the bigger problem is it actually a necessity that men collectively defend women's rights?
Okay, I'm tired of these people playing like fucking faggots.
2 kills.
Dude, he's not even on my screen for me to shoot.
Swapping.
Yep.
Left.
Behind me. Great game. Oh yeah. I can't hit him, but he can hit me, even though I'm behind the wall. What a fucking joke. Bro, look at.
Frag out.
Trash.
kill.
Dude, how am I not around the fucking corner, dude? My team is garbage, man. There's like 4 people around me, and not one teammate is near me. Bro, how are these people that are negative killing or like, huh? Dude, I wish I could team kill this fucking thing, dude.
About 2 minutes. A quick 2.
Of course this guy gets a fucking kill when I'm one shot. Dude, like, these people get so lucky, I can't believe it. Dude, I hear so many people and I don't see anyone.
Seconds.
Dude,
30
that's
seconds
such
to go.
bullshit, dude. I'm losing when I have a 2 KD. How's that even possible? How is that possible? This guy's going negative.
Seconds to go.
I can't take it.
10 seconds. 5 seconds remaining. Out of time. Enemy team wins.
I think it is a necessity that society defends the rights of those who are less vulnerable.
You keep saying
against those who try to-
society.
Fine,
Okay,
but
it can't be random
those
people
who
in
are
society.
Stronger. You're right. That
Men.
those. Sure.
Okay,
I
will
don't-
you
what do
concede for the audience then that your vision of feminism requires by necessity the actualization and the threat of stronger people who are predominantly men?
Sure.
Okay, so feminism requires men in power.
Feminism requires men to support feminist goals.
In power. It's an allowance system.
Everything is an allowance system. Like we're bargaining with people who are stronger and have more power than we do in order to get what we want.
So that means feminism, the way you're describing it, relies wholly, every aspect that, any kind of cherries you want to put on top, like any amenities, extra whipped cream on the feminist boat, ultimately you're asking, and women today are still asking, please, stronger collection of men, allow us to do X, Y, Z, right?
I think it's asking society not
This
to.
is a 67 Chevelle. She's a 138 car.
Hurt them. What,
So
what do you,
is
what-
that, yeah, but that's an inequality.
Nice.
I'm not.
5 minutes. Double elimination.
Bro, you're a fucking loser, man. What a fucking bag.
A quick 2.
Wow, he's just literally half bullet. There's three people right there. Why don't they go after each other? And I spawn right in front of this guy.
Enemies are halfway to victory. Double kill. Two kills. 5 consecutive eliminations.
Oh my god. Way better than the
kill.
skins. Dude, if I didn't get shot from behind, that guy is fucking smacked.
Hostiles are pushing for objective.
Dude, if I didn't join in when it was already had 10 kills, this guy would be getting his fucking shit on, dude. Of course I die from behind, dude. Of course I die from behind. How
Hostiles
else
are
would I
close
die?
to objective.
Dude, like that doesn't even make sense, bro. Dude, that guy actually spawned in front of me.
Arguing that women are as
I watched
strong
him as he
men. I'm not
spawned.
trying to argue that as a collection that they're equal in every aspect.
Yeah, but you said equal opportunities.
Of course.
Do women have the equal opportunity to defend or take other people's rights?
If you're talking like everything all else equal, or are we talking like they can have certain abilities to do that in terms of the weaponry that they have, in terms of of the organization of society that they have? Like I think that you're assuming that we live in a state of nature, which we don't currently live in a state of nature.
No, I still think that nature bleeds in. I know what you're saying, that we live in a state of luxury. Are you saying like decadence?
A little bit.
It's not like brutality of the wilderness, right?
Sure.
Because of men.
Because that's
Men built structures, built concrete jungles. You know, they
No,
built
hold on. a
underground
lot of it.
systems.
No, but a fair amount of that was
The
based-
only reason we're not in the jungle is because of men.
You do realize that a collection of men together without like knowing like how a building is made, you can't just.
You're on a
pull it
timer.
apart.
Eliminate hostiles. You have the lead. You got the first kill. Hostiles have the lead. Your team takes the lead. A quick 2. Five consecutive eliminations.
Oh my
2
god.
kills.
Oh my god,
Double
I'm
kill.
fucking nasty, bro. Man. Dude, though, people like that are fucking disgusting, man.
Reload.
You have 5 minutes.
Dude, he's already shooting me as he's turning the corner. Like, what horseshit, man. Dude, that guy's garbage, bro, and he actually killed me? Ain't no fucking way, dude.
Dual kill.
Oh my god, don't know how that wasn't a headshot.
Loading mag.
Dude, the fact with this aim I'm gold 3 is... That should be fucking criminal, dude. Absolutely criminal.
Reloading.
1 minute left.
Reload!
Oh, you fucking bitch, ran out of ammo.
Reloading.
You have 30 seconds.
Swapping mags.
15 seconds remaining. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds.
Killed from behind. That's how you do it.
Time's up. Your team takes it.
Third most kills in the game. 3 KD. It's how you win. Not fucking running around like 20 and 17 or 18 and 18. If everyone went 18 and 6, you win every game.
Bunch of men together and say build this building. They're not going to know how to do that.
I
It requires-
understand you need
So,
engineers, but
sure.
that's irrelevant because
How?
if without
8
if you say without the
more.
engineer you can't build a building,
Yeah.
well, there are people who've built buildings without insane levels of engineering.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying to build the society that we have right now, you
To
do.
maintain it, you need
Sure.
brute force.
And
You can't
what
fix
is that?
anything. What does it
Okay.
have? Well, we're back to the leverage. If men can leverage their brute force, so I gave the example of voting, that when collective of men vote, they're basically saying, you know what, I'm going to vote, even though the alternative, I don't want to do the alternative, but the alternative could be that I get all my friends with our guns and overthrow, if we can, we'll start a war or
Why
whatever.
can't women get together with all their friends who are men and do that? Wait, you're saying men can appeal to other men to enforce their own rights. Why can't women do the same thing? to their
Men
friends
can
as well?
collectively do that without women. Women can't do it without men.
I don't think that's necessarily true.
It is absolutely
No,
true.
no,
There's
because-
no women.
hold on,
There's no
hold on.
collective of women who could. If that was true, some of what you would think are the worst places in the world in regards to a woman's experience, the standard, they
Stuff like that.
can't
So
take over the men,
Hold on.
dude.
I think that they could, as you're talking about, leverage, the power that they do have.
You're on a timer. Eliminate hostiles. Hostiles have the lead.
That is such horseshit, dude. Dude, his timing is just unbelievable, bro. And I still almost killed him. Bro, I can't even see him, yo.
Hostiles are at the 50% mark.
Dude, why didn't it reload, man?
5 minutes
Literally
left.
playing a fucking retard game. Oh. Okay, this game is fucking god awful. How many fucking bullets does it take to kill one guy, let alone fucking 10? Okay, yeah. That is the final straw. Holy shit. Literally spawned in her ass.
Which
against
is?
that system. I'm not denying that there's biological differences between men and women. I don't see kind of what argument you're getting at. I think that women are largely, in a sense, many women are complicit in the patriarchal structure that we have and help to uplift it. There is
Oh,
a
it's some of the
yeah,
worst
but I'm
experience
saying
I've had in a
that
while.
it is not all just brute force. There's an ideological component here. There's women who believe in this system and will back men up on it.
I understand that. I'm not.
So-
I'm not saying that doesn't exist. I'm saying if you had all of that stuff exist,
They just wouldn't do it.
no, none of it matters if you don't have force enforcing
Fine.
it.
If every woman in society, collectively, all of them, which is an impossible hypothetical because all women are not going to agree on something and all men are not going to agree on something. If all women, decided immediately to disagree with all
we go right here for JD Vance to be the top of the ticket, it's just not the same, man. It's just not the same. I know it seems like it, and I love JD Vance, and I feel like he is a great ambassador for MAGA moving forward, but I'm looking at that next level kind of coverage and the way that he handles things when Trump isn't there. How is it going to look? And that's what we have to be, thinking about. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not going to support JD Vance if he's at the top of the ticket in 2028. I'm just saying that we can't lose sight of the fact that Trump is a once-in-a-lifetime personality. And I'm not saying anybody can live up to that because no one can. But we have to be mindful of that the things that he's doing and the things that he's implementing, only he can do these things right now. Now, could he blaze a path forward and kick the door down so someone like JD Vance can continue to walk through it and maintain? That is a possibility. But I'm not just going to sit here and just go, oh, it's a slam dunk, it's over. JD Vance has this. I can't do that yet. And certainly not Marco Rubio. I think Marco Rubio has been fantastic working for Trump. No, not a chance do I want Marco Rubio at the top of the ticket.
But Joey, I wanted to start with the potential successors, JD Vance and Marco Rubio.
cow. And they're going to do it again.
Would love it. By the way, that Meet the Press interview, did you notice how many times Donald Trump mentioned Marco Rubio?
He likes him a lot.
I really, that really, I thought was very telling in that interview.
You know, Lisa, you have in Hillary Clinton, someone who won the popular vote, lost the election. You have someone who beat Kamala Harris in the electoral vote count only by 1. And yet I'm interested that Democrats shut the door on her. Dick Durbin said it's time to move on. John Tester discouraged her from running. Senator Martin Heinrich said it'd be a mistake for Clinton to run. So everyone's like done with Clinton, who outperformed Kamala, but we'll give Kamala another shot.
Well, yeah, and what donor would be delusional enough to give Kamala?
Well, that's identity politics. I mean, Hillary is a white lady, an old white lady. Kamala is a woman of color, an old woman of color. So she wins the Oppression Olympics. So they have to go with the more diverse candidate right there.
Harris money after her burn rate when she ran for president, wasting through all that money. You know, it's interesting, Kaylee, because right now we're seeing this generational divide within the Democrat Party, also an ideological divide. So it'll be interesting to see this play out in the 2028 presidential election. I suspect they're going to have a very, very crowded primary, probably like Republicans did in 2016 with the 17 different candidates. And what's interesting when you have that kind of dynamic is it allowed someone like Donald Trump to be seen because he has such a different personality, because he's so different than the other candidates on the stage. So what kind of environment with the Democrats in 2028, who emerges in that environment? Could you have sort of an outsider or a dark horse candidate? I don't know, but you know, this is all going to be very interesting to watch.
Harris.
Look, he comes out as kingmaker, Donald Trump. And that might speak to the issue of why Democrats are trying to destroy everything. Because he gets another 8 years potentially then. It won't be him, but he'll come out of the successes. If he can continue to have deliverables, he'll come out with successes and be a kingmaker. He'll be able to say if it's Rubio, if it's whatever, and then back that candidate. That makes that candidate really hard to beat if you don't have your stuff together on the left.
He talked about his legacy.
Him being a kingmaker is a very good point, because he is. Donald Trump holds all the cards. Whoever Donald Trump decides to pass the baton to put over, if I'm using a wrestling term, that person will be the guy moving forward.
I see during that interview, it was very interesting.
Yeah, it does kind of make the 2028 hats pretty funny because it's all just trolls.
Yeah. I mean, you can put the 8, like the 2028 in the great. I could make it great. Never mind. I'm not designing hats, obviously.
The only...
But that's the gist of it right there. So, yeah, and so the Trump 2028 stuff it's interesting. It's very interesting for sure. Red Mage says for Marco Rubio, working for Trump has been like his redemption arc. JD Vance is worlds better than Pence was, and I think he'll work to try to carry the torch after Trump as much as possible. I mean, I'm a huge fan of JD Vance, and I found every reason to support JD Vance today anyway. I actually quote tweeted him right here because JD Vance responded to Jack Posobiec, and he said, prequels were underrated. Posobiec got community noted. Holy shit, I didn't even know Posobiec got community noted. The prequels suck because they were poorly made by George Lucas, who only had a small role in the original series. That is massively bullshit. The sequels suck because they were abominations made by Disney committees and J.J. Abrams Sims. Well, I don't disagree with the second part of that. But he got community noted. George Lucas wrote and directed the original Star Wars and co-wrote, storyboard, and edited and supervised the VFX in the 2 sequels, in addition to being on set for principal photography. So, yeah, I mean, listen, if you know anything about Jack Posobiec, his takes on entertainment might be the single worst takes of all time. They are horrifically bad, all right? Now, I've been battling for the prequels for as long as I can remember. I've always been a prequel defender, and I will always be a prequel defender. And so, yes, so JD Vance responds and says the prequels were underrated. I said, Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie, prequels forever. And, of course, I said this is what I voted for. So we've got JD Vance standing up for the prequels. That's my vice president right there, baby. But yeah, it was funny. But yeah, Posobiec, man, Posobiec just does not know what he's talking about, man. He really doesn't. Robo Guy 75-450 says, for the movie tariffs, I'm worried that anime and other things will be locked out. Let's see, locked out and will be stuck with Hollywood. Even Eric July had concerns, and Grum said, imagine with this video games like Nintendo or other Asian games get tariffed to shit. Well, I understand that there's some concerns, but I addressed this earlier, and so I will repeat kind of what I said on Twitter about this. So right here, I tweeted this out from yesterday, Trump going ham, and him talking about the movie industry's dying and the 100% tariffs, all of that. I've made these, and thank you again, Robo Guy. Really appreciate the 50. Very generous of you. So every time Trump does this, there's a massive overreaction every single time. All right, it happens because this is what Trump does. He breaks the foundation of whatever it is that he is talking about or getting involved in. Now, for me, just his statement alone, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Just being honest, the statement itself does not make a lot of sense because, as we all know, as someone that has focused on movies and entertainment for the last 7-8 years on the main Geeks and Gamers channel, Hollywood is the problem, not the overseas market. In fact, a lot of times we tend to enjoy more things, from Korea and everything like that, than anything that they're producing here in the West. Okay? So, now, that being said, don't panic when Trump does things like this, okay? Don't panic. Never panic. Because Trump does this all the time. So here's my response. I'm seeing a lot of people confused about this, and I'm seeing a lot of people pretend how terrible this is based on the specifics of Trump's tweet. Trump always says something completely over the top and hyperbolic with few details in order to get what he ultimately wants. It's a conversation starter. This isn't new. Every time he does this, emotionally unstable people always overreact to him and go crazy. It's hilarious. I'm just enjoying the show. This is what he does all the time, and I see people lose their minds every time he does it. Panicans, right, as Trump called them. So I'm not saying you are, Robo Guy. I'm just saying the people that freak out over every little thing Trump does, it's really funny. So we're going to have to see how this all plays out. Hollywood is scrambling right now, and I know that Valiant Renegade has had some really good coverage of this over on his channel, and I've been watching a lot of the coverage. I tried to watch some of John Campia's coverage today, and Campia was just, he's got such a severe case of TDS that I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't watch Campia. He cries too much about it. So we'll see how it all, plays out, but I personally am not worried at all. Trump does this, he says something crazy, this conversation gets started, the key people involved come to the table, they talk to President Trump, he gets more information, and ultimately he gets something that benefits America, and everybody walks away in a better place. Even though the people on the left get completely butthurt and freak out over absolutely nothing, this is how it all plays out. So I would just say, give it time, let it work itself out, and if there is something to truly criticize about Trump's, decision or whatever he ultimately decides to do, then fair game. But at this point in time, it's just a conversation starter. So, but thank you so much. Femcell Beardo 450. Thank God Doge exists. Even though they shortened project deadlines, it's still fun. I get to work on many cool projects now, especially since they finally got AI into my space of government. My productivity is unmatched now. Hail Trump. I love this account, by the way. Thank you for the $50 super chat. Holy crap. Femcell Beardo. Thank you. You guys are insane, dude. What is happening? Robo Guy says, by the way, Revenge of the Sith is one of my personal favorite movies ever. Hell, I say it's better than Return of the Jedi, though I still love A New Hope and Empire. But yeah, even as a kid, I loved it so much. Yeah, every time I say that Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie, I have people freaking out on it. And they're like, Jeremy, Empire is the best. You're an idiot. And I'm like, I never said Revenge of the Sith is the best Star Wars movie. I say Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie. Empire, without a doubt, is the best Star Wars movie and one of the best movies ever made. Empire is 100% the best, objectively speaking. But Revenge of the Sith is my favorite. There's a big difference in that, okay? That's all it comes down to. Polite Rude Guy says, oh, I got that one. Let's see, Emperor Durag. Man, if we've ever needed Durag Vince, it's right now. We need Durag Vince more than anything. Durag Vince could heal all the racial tension in this country right now. Durag Vince could heal all the problems we have with race relations. He could do it. Sir Ruin of House Roundhead says, did you see Trump say he would like Stephen A. Smith to run? I never thought I would see Trump endorse and get interviewed by Stephen A. Smith. I mean, Trump was just being nice anyway about it. So, I mean, he would have said that about anybody in that situation. So.
What did you say?
Stephen A.'s an idiot, but, you know, he's not as big of an idiot as a lot of the people on the left. Bird Up says, I like everything else Trump is doing, but this tariff stuff has gone full retard. A tariff on non-American film production? What are we doing? Yeah, like I said, I just answered that. Give it time. It'll work itself out. It always does. It's never as bad as people seem to think it's going to be. Every single time this works out this way. Solo Felix says, RIP, is it Aussie, Australia? Commies won in a landslide with only around 30% of the vote, was 8 million early votes to count, but they claimed victory only after an hour. Yikes. Holy shit, sorry to hear that, man. That sucks. S. Becker says, my brother is a sound guy in Hollywood. These tariffs can't be anything good for him. MAGA. I mean, the thing that's not good for Hollywood is Hollywood. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, Hollywood has put themselves in this position, and they have no one else to blame but themselves. If you stop focusing on identity politics and wokeness and just continue to make movies that people wanted to go see, you'd have a booming industry right now. You did this to yourselves. So I don't feel sorry for Hollywood in any capacity whatsoever. Polite Rude Guy says, I support Trump 2028 before any other GOP candidates. Eric Heffelfinger says, Vance and Hegseth would make a great Prez VP team. That would be good. Act Natural says, it's going to come down to AOC versus Gavin Newsom. Robo Guy says, I know the damage the left did to entertainment, but last thing we need is the other side screwing with them. Lord knows people would retaliate hard. Agreed. Polite Rude Guy says, Donald J. Trump 28. Vance isn't my guy unless Donald Trump says yes. VH says, poll JD versus others. Well, I mean, I'm sure this chat would probably heavily skew JD Vance. But I saw that, what's his name from Rasmussen? We've had him on the channel. But he says that JD does not poll as well, is not even near as close as Trump polls. Like, it's not even remotely close. And that's just something that we have to keep in mind. Another thing that's going on today that I want to talk about is apparently Matt Walsh has stepped in it today over the, what's her name? The Shiloh, I think that's Shiloh Hendricks thing. So Matt Walsh says, today I did a 20-minute monologue explaining in great detail why I support the Shiloh Hendricks fundraiser. I've been denounced as racist and woke right for it by many conservatives, but not a single one of them has made any attempt to engage with my actual arguments. I don't know what the hell woke right is, I suppose it's supposed to mean I don't know that reacting emotionally without engaging with the substance of the argument seems pretty woke to me. So I'm interested to, I'm going to pull up whatever he said. I got to go over to his YouTube channel. So this whole thing is wild that it's this bad that people are freaking out over it. Is this what he's talking about? Okay, I guess that's what he's talking about right here. So I'm sure most of you already know the backstory here that this woman called what many people claimed is a 5-year-old black child with autism the N-word. Now, I don't know if we know for a fact that, number one, does this child have autism? Number two, was this child actually 5? I don't know if we know the answers to that. As I said yesterday, my biggest question was, where were the parents at? Why were the parents not there in the park? Now, apparently, and I touched on this a few times, but the parents at this point in time, based on the information we know, unless there's some updated information because I've looked into it, based on the information we know, the parents were not in the park. The person that recorded this woman had some serious allegations of inappropriate sexual behavior towards a minor. Allegations that I guess were dismissed, but then you hear this person talk and you're like, why are you in a park where there are children? What is your reasoning for being in a park where there are children? These are the most important questions to ask in this situation, not that someone said a mean fucking word, okay? These are the mean word is the least of the problems in this scenario right here. The least. Somebody said not a park, Jeremy. I'm looking at it right there. What is it if it's not a park? It's a kid's park, not a park. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I meant. It's a kid's park. When I say park, I meant kids park. So we've got a lot of questions here that should be far more concerning than someone saying a mean word. All right? So let's listen to what Matt Walsh is in. What's the like to dislike ratio on his video? He's not getting heat. Well, he's probably getting heat from like certain people.
Saying the N-word to a child in a moment of anger is bad. Is it so bad that it warrants the total and permanent destruction of a person's life? Now, to the social media mob, the answer is always yes. By now, you may have heard the name Shiloh Hendricks. Up until last week, no one outside of her friends and personal acquaintances knew she existed. Now she's at the center of one of the more intense social media controversies that we've seen in recent years. And it all began in the late afternoon on April 28th, when the woman we now know as Shiloh Hendricks took her young child to a park in Rochester, Minnesota. And at some point, a black child, reportedly 5 years old, tried to steal something from her diaper bag. Shiloh apparently responded in anger, and as the story goes, she called the boy the N-word.
It's so funny to hear Matt Walsh like report on the story because he's so dry in his delivery. It's so funny to listen to him say it.
Now, a man named Sharmaki Omar, a Somali immigrant and not the boy's father, allegedly witnessed this altercation and decided to pull out his phone. And the resulting video has gone extremely viral across every major social media platform. Here it is.
You call him a child? Did you call the child the word? It is my own business. You call him a Okay, why don't you have the boss to say it right now again? Okay.
What's interesting there is, and I'm not saying, because I'd heard someone else bring this up. I'm sure Matt Walsh is going to break this down too. Like, we don't hear her say that. We hear him accuse her of that and her basically go, what if I did? That's my attitude towards things, where I'm just like, what if I did? What the fuck are you going to do about it? We don't actually hear her do it. And even to this point, she's not even admitting that she did it. So that's really interesting. Listen to this again.
You call him a child? Did you call the child the word? It is my own business. You call him a Okay, why don't you have the balls to say it right now again? Okay. All right, that's what you say. Nobody did what you say. That little kid, you call him the little child? Are you about to hit him? You chasing him?
She did say yeah right there.
So that gives you the right to call the child 5-year-old anyway. That's what you're gonna call him. You know that's a hate speech, and you can be recorded for that. Okay, we'll see about that. What the internet has to say about you.
Oh, the internet. Well, guess what? The internet responded, and she created a GoFundMe. And because she was being harassed and she wanted to move, she initially set the goal at $100,000. That GoFundMe, the last I checked, was closing in on $600,000. So the internet definitely decided how they felt about her, and the internet likes her a lot.
Now, before we continue with the story, which takes several more twists and turns, we should note a few things. First of all, we don't actually know for sure that the boy is 5 years old. That's coming from the man filming, who is apparently not related to the child. In the video, we appear to get a glimpse of the kid, and from the glimpse anyway, he definitely looks older than 5. Omar has additionally claimed that the boy...
I didn't even see, like, I don't think I even remember seeing the kid in the original video. So, but I have heard people say that he looks older than 5.
Is autistic, which we also have no proof of, and we have no footage of the actual encounter between the kid and this woman. Did she scream the N-word in his face? Did she mutter it under her breath? Did she say it about the child after he'd already run away?
These are good points.
We don't know.
These are good
And
points.
as far as I've seen, we haven't heard anything from the boy's parents. We don't know where they were in all of this, if they were even there, which is very strange. So there are many aspects of the story that are bizarre and unconfirmed. And here's another.
And these are the things. What did I say yesterday when I covered this? The biggest question would be, why is a child alone in the park without his parents? Where are the parents? That should be the #1 outrage. Regardless of race, regardless of political ideology, your #1 concern should be, where are the parents? Why are the parents not in the park with the kid? Where's the parents? #2, the second big concern should be, who is this fucking, I guess, illegal, I don't know if he's an illegal or he's some type of immigrant who's in the park, who has a record of being accused of inappropriate behavior with a minor. Why is he in the park, but the parents are not there with the kid? These are far more interesting and crucial questions to be asking than worrying about a mean word.
Another disturbing detail, the Somali man behind the camera, Omar, was charged a couple of years ago with sexually assaulting a minor. And according to the local news channel KTTC, those charges were dismissed. A separate report by the local ABC affiliate adds that the charges were dismissed, quote, in the interest of justice, whatever the hell that means. But whatever it means, now Omar, who was previously charged with...
I saw Gregory Harrison said, Simps donating to a single mom with jail tax. Bro, that sounds like every strip club in every city in the United States of America. That's pretty much how it goes. So, there's no better privilege than hot chick privilege. That is a fact. There is no better privilege than hot chick privilege. That's just a fact.
Sexually assaulting a minor is at a playground with his camera out filming. So make of all of that what you will. So there are quite a few details that still need to be filled in here, but the saga continues anyway. What happened next is quite predictable. The social media mob went to work. They set out to identify this, at the time, anonymous woman and ruin her life, or worse. Here's one of the guys who got things kicked off. Watch.
Help us. She claims that that other child took her son's belongings. The guy who recorded the video.
This dude has soy written all over him.
He's familiar with the other child. He brings his children there. That child and his siblings are often there and play together. The kid she's going after has autism. He doesn't behave in a neurotypical.
How do you know he has autism? How do you know this? Can you please explain to me how you know he has autism? Because somebody on Twitter said he has autism?
Even if he didn't have autism, nothing he could have done would justify her calling him slurs and pursuing him physically, which is what she says she was doing before this guy interviewed. He said after he stopped recording, she sat down, hurled more slurs, told him and his wife that they should leave the country, and then got on the phone and acted like she was calling someone to come down there and handle things. Fortunately, no one came, and eventually she packed up the child and left. But this woman is a danger to children.
So, let's go on this guy's logic, okay? You are a danger to children if you use the N-word in their presence at all. I would like to ask this individual, would that apply to every single black person in the country that has said the N-word around a child? Would you hold that same standard to every black person that has ever said the N-word in front of a child? Would you hold that same standard? Please, just let me know if you would hold that same standard. Just curious.
She doesn't need to be on a playground or around other kids. And she has at least one child of her own, which is also insulting. So Rochester, Minnesota. A close look. Twos. See the face clearly. Someone please tell me who she is.
Who the fuck are you?
Clearly, someone please tell me who she is.
Who are you?
Tell me who she is. Tell me who she is.
Wonderful. So you're doxing her. Okay.
Okay, so she's a danger to children. She shouldn't be allowed at playgrounds. She shouldn't be allowed at playgrounds, not the guy that was charged with sexually assaulting a minor.
Exactly.
But he says, please, internet, find her, and countless others joined in. And in some cases, they were calling for the woman to be imprisoned for saying a bad word. Watch.
Share. Trying to find the woman who called the little boy the N-word, the 5-year-old little boy, artistic boy.
Did you get a coffee while you were out? Is she home?
No, it's probably your phone.
Do you know if she's home tomorrow? What's up? Did they win?
Yes, they did, barely.
Against the Panthers?
Yeah, we only beat them by a goal and it got down to like 6 seconds in the game. They pulled their goalie and they almost got a goal.
Do you know if she's home tomorrow?
No idea.
boy. She needs to be found and locked up. So please tap in.
Now, there are many other videos of people hoping that she would be found and physically assaulted or killed. Some were even threatening violence against her baby that you can see in the video.
Artistic. Chat is killing me.
Here's one example.
He said, hey, TikTok, I just got a real quick question. So we all know what happened with Shiloh Hendricks and how she got all this money, right? All the wrong reasons. But you know what? It is what it is at this point, right? So I'm just sitting here thinking, what about the baby? What about the baby? Because technically, that baby is going to grow up and be part of the Triple K. That baby might grow up to be Hitler.
Oh God, what is happening? What are we doing? What world are we living in right now? Holy shit!
That baby is going to grow up and probably be the worst of the worst out there in the world. And you know what? I don't want that baby policing children that look like me. I don't want that baby growing up doing anything else to people that look like me, all because it was taught that. But since, unfortunately, CPS is not going to be able to do nothing, what should we do? I think you guys should let me know in the comments, because part of my thinking was, start a GoFundMe, you know, raise about $1 million, go slap the hell out that baby, make that baby brainless or something for a while. At least it still get to live. I mean, it just might be, you know. But hey, that's what happens when you grow up with racist ass parents. You gotta eat their consequences.
Now, I would say that encouraging people to beat a baby unconscious is worse than...
What the fuck?
Saying a bad word to a child, a lot worse. And yet there's no mob forming against that guy or the dozens of other people who hit like on that video. So this is all unfolded as you would expect up to this point, leading to the predictable news that the Rochester Police Department is now actively investigating the woman, and others began calling for CPS to get involved and remove her child from the home. For example, there's a guy who put up on the screen who wrote a letter to CPS, which he published on his website, claiming again that Shiloh's a danger to her own child and that the child should be taken out of the home. And pretty soon, with thousands upon thousands of people whipped into a pitchfork mob, she had been identified by name, but not just her name. Her phone number was posted all over the internet, her address, her social security number, her alleged places of employment. People were calling her phone and making death threats and then bragging about it openly. Again, so far this story is following the script that we all know by heart. A random person is caught on camera doing something rude or offensive. The video is posted by some third party, usually somebody who wasn't even involved in the incident. And then thousands of sociopaths set out to destroy the person's life and possibly get them killed, all for sport, as a form of...
That's pretty much what it is. I gotta say, Disco Cobra with 5 gifted memberships. Good to see you, Disco Cobra. Thank you for the gifted memberships. I saw a, right here, Shiloh 500,000 racism versus Carmelo 500,000. How inspiring. It is definitely interesting where we're at with this whole scenario. Heartbreak Zero says, Democrat LA Sheriff Alex I don't know how to say that, turned GOP here in Cali and cited Trump. I'm not holding my breath, but this small turnaround may be a start. Maybe. Cultural Breakdown says, who has worse takes on entertainment, Posobiec, Shapiro, or Matt Walsh? 100% it's Posobiec. Matt Walsh actually, like, I think Matt Walsh leans into a shtick when he's doing it. I don't think that it's like, I think Matt Walsh likes to lean into it. And I actually appreciate how Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh, like, Shapiro actually will make a video roasting Matt Walsh on his bad takes. I actually like that. Shapiro, I don't recall Shapiro being terrible on entertainment, but Posobiec is fucking horrendous on it. Plyru Guy says, do a poll with Trump as an option because he can run. Oh, okay, I got you. Andy Plays Game says, Jeremy, who has worse takes, Uche or Posobiec? It's close. Taker says, Jeremy, I have to believe DeSantis is for sure going to run in 2028. Is there a possible redemption arc for him in your eyes? there could have been a possible redemption arc for Ron DeSantis if he was working with the Trump administration. Look at Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio's had a huge redemption arc, but I don't think that DeSantis can. I don't think DeSantis can redeem himself at the current place we're at. I just don't see it. I don't see it at all. MAGA just hates him. MAGA hates him, and he's done it to himself. High Q says DNC could run Rachel Levine. Darth Manic says if I were if you were a leaf, I'd blow you in the wind. What? Grand Potato says the Phantom Menace is my favorite Star Wars movie. The pod race and the Battle of Naboo are some of the best Star Wars we have gotten. I respect that. I respect that. Emperor Durag Vince says unlimited power. Disco Cobra says, can I even send a super at this point? Can you? Disco Cobra, you used to drop bombs on us, by the way. Not saying you have to, but yes, you can. Thank you for the 2. Good to see you back, brother. Disinfected Scientist says, woke right is a James Lindsay subversive BS. Ignore. Slain Hope says, it's a jungle gym if it's in the hood. Reason why.
Her way to potentially becoming a millionaire.
Let's go.
Now, this twist, as you can imagine, has outraged the outrage mob even more, but a large number of prominent people on the right are also horrified by this turn of events. Just as one example, Colin Wright tweeted, the woke right is now mirroring the woke left's tendency to glorify and martyr immoral degenerates solely based on shared racial identity. This woke one-upmanship is a race to the very bottom. Many conservative influencers and commentators, many of them who I like and respect, have echoed this sentiment. They say that, the people donating to this woman are behaving no better than the left. They say that this is the right's version of the Carmelo Anthony fundraiser that also raised $500,000, even though he stabbed somebody to death, which I hope we can agree is far, far worse than saying a bad word. Some have even speculated that this whole...
The fact is some people think that the bad word is worse than what Carmelo Anthony did. You're dealing with deranged fucking people. There are people that truly think that saying a mean word is worse than what Carmelo Anthony did.
The thing is some kind of psyop meant to delegitimize the movement and make conservatives look racist. To that, I must assure them, despite how it may seem, that not everything is a psyop. There are things that really just happen in life. Some things do just happen, and I think this is one of them. Now, I understand that some people on my side feel, to put it scientifically, icky about this whole thing. I understand why they feel icky. I understand why they don't want to condone saying racial slurs to children. I don't want to condone it either, and I don't. And nobody really does. But
D-Day Cobra, mean word. Bro, it's racism, you fool. Benjamin, shut the fuck up. All right, go watch Tim Pool. All right, you're better suited over there. You're not built for this life. Get the fuck out of here. All right, shut the fuck up.
I think they're missing the point. In the past, most people enjoyed genuine privacy. What changed? Well, the internet. Now, every search, browse, and tweet becomes part of your digital footprint.
Oh, his ad read. Listen, we're reacting to him. We're going to give him his ad read, okay? We're going to give him his ad read.
Public figure, and that's why I protect my data with ExpressVPN.
You know what?
Data brokers have a simple trick for tracking you. They use your device's unique.
It's because I tell little bitches like Benjamin to shut the fuck up. Is that why I don't get sponsors over here on Cobra Cast? You would think I would get sponsors, but then I call people names, so probably not.
Private information. Plus, I love the peace of mind it gives me when I'm traveling for work and have to connect to public internet that literally anybody can be on. Knowing my sensitive information is secure when I'm on the go makes all the difference. ExpressVPN encrypts all of your network traffic, protecting your data from hackers on public Wi-Fi, and it works across all your devices with just one tap for instant protection. It's so simple to use that it would almost be stupid not to. Find out how you can get 4 months.
Jeremy, you a racist, bro. Well, I mean, I particularly hate white liberals. So yeah, white liberals absolutely are the worst people on the planet. So I am definitely racist against white liberals.
What's actually happening here or why? It is, in the end, a net positive that this woman has raised $500,000. I'm glad she does. I hope she raises $1 million.
Let's go.
I will not be joining with some of my conservative friends in wagging my finger at her donors. And
Shit. What's up, Gary? That's a hell of a comment.
I'll explain why. First of all, she does have a legitimate need for the money. The mob is truly trying to get her killed. I don't believe that a woman should have her life threatened for saying a word, even a bad one. You could say freedom of speech, but not freedom from consequences for your speech, all you want. But if losing your livelihood and having your house burned down is a consequence of your speech, then you do not have free speech. Supporting free speech means supporting someone's ability to speak without having their family murdered for it. Okay, I mean, that should be pretty obvious. Second, more important, and you know, this is the part that I really need everyone to stop and think about. This is the most devastating attack on cancel culture that we have seen, possibly ever. Shiloh Hendricks has, without really trying, effectively
I don't know if I would, well, I would say Trump is the biggest example of cancel culture failing, but Trump is in a different world. So we're just talking about an average, everyday person that got caught up in something by a cancel mob. So I would probably say yes with taking Trump out of the situation for sure. Let me hear what all he has to say real quick before I continue. I want to hear what his specific thoughts are on this.
Stop and think about it. This is the most devastating attack on cancel culture that we have seen, possibly ever. Shiloh Hendricks has, without really trying, effectively ended cancel culture. As Mark Dice said in his video about the incident, Shiloh is the final boss of cancel culture, or maybe rather the final boss that cancel culture has to fight.
I don't know about that.
And I think that's right.
I don't know
This is the
about
part that many conservatives seem to be missing. All they see is that this woman said something bad and is now getting rewarded for it. The whole thing is so unsavory that they can't help but recoil. And yeah, it is unsavory. You wish that Shiloh had said or done something that we could affirmatively defend. That would be much easier.
I would say that it's a good, this is a big moment, but it's not ended. No. It's not even close to being ended. But this is probably the biggest blow that cancel culture has seen in recent memory. And if we're taking Trump out of the equation and all of that, because this could have been anybody in any situation caught in your worst moment, and you say something that you don't want the world to hear, and you got some fucking, weirdo that's hanging out in a fucking park that's looking for kids, and he records her, and he's like, we'll see what the internet thinks about that. And she got completely caught up in something, and she didn't back down. And now it's been a massive win for her, but I don't think that this is the end of cancel culture at all.
Nobody wants to affirmatively defend cussing out a 5-year-old, even though I don't think the kid's actually 5. But none of that is the point. The point is that the only way to put an end to this routine, the routine where the outraged mob mobilizes and assembles to destroy somebody's life, is to disincentivize the routine. And the only way to disincentivize that behavior is to reward the person who's being targeted. Now, we can complain all we want about the mob tactics and how they silence and punish people and exact vengeance in wildly disproportionate ways. We can condemn it. We can write think pieces about it. We can deliver monologues. None of that matters. None of that will stop them. The only thing that can stop them, the only thing that will make them think twice about doing this again, is if they know that instead of getting their target canceled, they might accidentally make